Hello everyone, it is Teresa from Teresa Silhouette Spot for all things art, where I love sharing art from my heart and teaching creators and crafters how to paint for fun and profit. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are working on this flamingo today. So if you're watching this video, you have the kit and it comes with the pre-traced canvas, 2 brushes, and the paint, and now the video. So we will get started. Let me just turn you guys around, and there we go. So, I have put out all my colors. I have this royal fuchsia, bubblegum pink, black, white. I think this is festive green, yellow, and Bahama blue. Okay? And I have a bigger brush here, but I'm just going to use my little brush. And I'm going to pick up some of this Bahama blue, and I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. So I have some blue and some white on my palette. Okay? So let me get that started. Now when I paint, I like to go around my elements. It's okay, it is totally okay if you get some on the flowers or the leaves that I'm going around. It's totally okay, because when you go back and paint your leaves or your flowers or your flamingo, the paint will cover. Trust me. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that. So and you might have heard me say this before, I paint the way I color. And I like to go around the elements first and then go back. It kind of tells my eye where I should be painting and not painting. And I'm going to do the edges as well. You can do your edges or not. It's totally up to you. And if you see, I snuck a little flower in here, and I'll show you why. So this is part of a set. So you may have gotten this painting, or you may have gotten the other flamingo painting, and they can go together as a set. So I have a little hint of a corner of a leaf there, but it's okay if this is the kit that you have. It's totally fine, and yours will look awesome without the set. So they are meant to stand alone or go together. And again, if you see, I'm just going around the shapes because I try and make it easier for you guys. And I provide these pre-traced canvases. We go around these. You could, if you wanted to, you could paint your whole entire background first and then go back in and trace in the design. That's totally up to you. I do that sometimes as well. But part of me providing these kits, I want my painters to feel very accomplished and successful. And I try and make it as easy as I can for them. And I feel that providing the pre-traced canvas is one way of doing that. Now, you are watching the video. So if you think I'm going too fast, which I probably am, just hit pause. Hit pause, catch up, do your entire background, and then come back to me. So you see, I just went around my flamingo and I got a little bit on her, and that's okay, because when I go back into paint and add all the details, that's going to be fine. So I'm still picking up a little bit of white every time I go into the blue, and I don't want the background to be one solid color. Even if you missed part of the white canvas, that's okay, because white is a color too, and it actually would be a little bit of a different white, and it won't stand out. So don't worry if you miss a spot or you cross over the line. It's all good. Now this is one of my very favorite colors. This happens to be Bahama blue. I've been using a lot of this and patina. They have been my 2 favorite colors, and they've pretty much been going with everything. So now I could keep doing the edge here, but I'm probably going to paint this edge where the flamingo is pink, like the flamingo. You can do your edge all blue. It is totally up to you. I'm doing mine with a little bit of the blue. Over there it'll be the green for the leaf, and over here in the corner will be the pink for our flamingo. And you guys, I'm trying so hard not to call it a pelican. I don't know why I have pelican on the brain. And now, hopefully now that I said it, I won't say it because I got it out in the open. But if I do, we're doing a flamingo here, guys. Don't let me confuse you with my nonsense. Okay. So again, I want to go around the flower. And it does not have to be perfect. When we go back in and we do our flower and we add all our details, you will see how it will all cover and come together. So I still have to get on the little bit of the inside of the flower too. Up here. And in here. So this is like a really fun little project, family project to do on a rainy day, or you're off from school. Get out some paints. You could even, now that you have this, you can trace it and do it in markers if you want. So that is our background. That's what we're gonna leave it for now. Okay? So I'm gonna wash, I'm gonna wash that brush, but I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna pick up our liner brush because I wanna get in to the middle of the flower too. This is a hibiscus, and so you can see through the back of it. The flowers, it's a very open flower. So I want to get in there, and on this one the same thing. And don't forget, if you paint over the inside of your flower or the stamen of your flower, whatever, don't worry about it, because when we go back to our flower, we're going to fix it and it's all going to be fine. Okay? Oh, okay. So I'm going to wash both my brushes. I have some paper towel here. After I wash my brush, I like to squeeze it out and make sure all the water is out. Like this, give it a little pinch. And we're going to pick up our green, and we're going to start base coating in our flowers. These two up here cross over each other. When I'm first doing the base coat, it's okay. But after you get it filled in, can you see I have all my strokes going to the center? I'm putting my brush down, I'm standing my brush up on the edge, and I'm pulling in to the center. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So if you wanted to go in and base coat your leaf first, and then go back in and pull to the center, that's totally up to you. So I'm bringing one side this way and the other side in this way. And this is a little bit of a tropical leaf, so it has these pointy edges and these little tiny openings in the leaf that you can see through. It's kind of square. It's pretty amazing how these things grow. and they're squared off like this. And again, you can fill your whole leaf in and then go back in and pull to the center, or you can do it as you paint it in, like I'm doing now. And this is just the base coat. We're going to go back in and we're going to add some different highlights and some different shading. But we want to get our leaves all painted in green first. Okay? And I did the same thing with that one. Then I'm going to do this little tiny one over here. And again on the side. Okay. What do you guys think so far? Cool, right? Okay, again, I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to give it a squeeze, get out all the water. And now I'm going to go to our light pink. And I'm going to start filling in our flamingo and our flowers. This is really the perfect size brush for this. It's not too big. It's not too small. Feel free to pause me whenever you need to, and then come back and finish up. If you need to walk away from your paint for a little while, it's a good idea to put a dish or something over it. If you leave it for too long, it will dry up. But if you're only going to leave it for a little bit, like to go grab something to eat or something, if you cover it with another plate, it'll be fine. Now we have her little eye in there and her eye is closed, but we should still be able to see it through our pink paint, because this pink paint is very faint. Okay? Now we're going to go in and do our hibiscus. And our hibiscus is just a series of like oversized ends. So you can go in here and you can do the bottom end. And then we're going to go up here and we're going to do the top end and fill it in. Okay? I'll show you that again. Down here, we're just going to go up and make like an N with our brush. Then we're going to go over here and we're going to do the top part of our brush. And if our petals or our two strokes don't meet, we fill it in. So again, we're going to do the bottom end. Then we're going to do the top end. We have a little space in here. We're going to fill that in. There we go. That's our first flower. I'm going to take our brush, standing up on the chisel edge, and pull out the stamen. I am loving these colors, you guys. We're going to go up here to this flower, do the bottom end, then we're going to do the top end, and in this case it did not reach. This one's a little bit bigger up here, so we fill it in. If you need to pause, go ahead. So if you haven't been following me on YouTube, it's Teresa's Spot for Art on YouTube, and there are other video tutorials on there. Some of them are not as detailed, but they're still fun to paint nonetheless. And then we have everything base coated in. So we have our pink for our flamingo and our flowers. So I'm not even going to wash my brush now. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to just pick up some white. So now I have my dirty brush. It's got the pink on it. It's got a little bit of white in it. And I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to start adding some white to our flowers. If your pink starts getting a little, if your white starts getting a little muddy, pick up a little bit of fresh pink. Oh wait, if your white starts getting a little muddy, pick up some fresh white. How's that? Because we want to add some highlight to our flowers, okay? And again, I'm going to do the same thing with the white. I'm going to start adding some little white slashes in here. I'm using the brush on the chisel edge, standing it up, and I'm lightly pulling some white in here. And I'm going to work my way up, little tiny white strokes, adding to our flamingo as I work my way up. Okay, just keep picking up more and more white. And you can bring it down around here if you want, but that's up to you. Okay. And it's going to do the same thing up here. Following the shape of our flamingo's head. Okay? Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of this dark. This is called royal fuchsia. All right? Don't be afraid if you get too much dark in here, because you can always go back in with the light. If you get it too dark, just pick up some of the white or the pink and come in here and fix it. Okay? It's paint. It covers right up. And I'm using the brush, standing up on the point like this. I'm keeping my brush upright. Okay, now still with this brush, I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to add some of this dark fuchsia to our flowers. So wet paint on wet paint is for blending, and wet paint on dry paint is to fix stuff. So if you have something that you don't like and you want to change it, fix it, wait for it to dry, be patient, wait for it to completely dry, and then you can go back in and fix it. If you have something that you want to blend, like we're blending in these flowers with the light and the dark, you want to do wet on wet. So now I just wiped my brush off. I picked up a little bit more of the white, and I'm gently going in here and blending in these hibiscus. So we'll have a variety of pinks in here. Okay, you can see where some of it's dark and some of it's light. Now I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to give it a little squeeze. And now I'm going to go in. We're going to go back to our leaves. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the yellow. And now I'm going to start the same way we did the leaves the first time. I'm going to start bringing in the yellow to the center on top of the green and just highlighting up these leaves a little bit. And I'm going to show you, we still have to do stems. Our paintings go through stages before the end, when all of a sudden you add all the details and you go, wow. So we need to trust the strokes and trust me, because you will see that it will all come together at some point and you'll be like, oh, look at that. So let me turn you guys around for 1 second. There we go. And I'll show you what we have so far. So that's it. So we've pretty much base coated in everything. We did our background. It's got a little bit of a swirly effect with the blue and the white. And then we base coated in the flamingo and the flowers in the light pink. We base coated in the leaves in the darker festive green. And then we went back in and we added some highlights with the white and some shading with our royal fuchsia. And now we're going to go in and we're going to start adding the details, and you're going to see how this whole thing transforms now. Okay? So, turn you guys back around. Okay. So, let me get out my liner brush, which is the little one. It should look like this. Okay? I used mine, so mine was wet already. And the first thing I'm going to do is go into the black, and I'm going to add this line and this line, and then I'm going to color in the beak. Look at that already. Already it's like saying, I'm a flamingo. Okay? Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do the eye. Okay? So, wash your brush. Now I'm going to pick up this fuchsia. So I want this flower to really pop in here. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to paint this flower in the bright royal fuchsia. Okay, and I'm going to show you. So I'm going to use the back of my brush, the little pointy part of the back of the brush. I'm going to put it in this light pink. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to put a circle. Okay. I'm going to use, again, I'm still on this fuchsia. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start outlining our flowers. The inside and the outside. Now these lines do not have to be perfect. It's okay if you go off a little bit. Painting does not have to be perfect at all. Your project will look like your project. And that's it. And I'm going to add a little bit here, there. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing down here. Now see how these lines really make everything pop? It makes such a huge difference. And this is not even the end yet. We have more details to even put. Okay? I'm just going to do a little bit under here. Going to add a little bit of shading underneath, like that. And a little bit under here, like that. Now I'm going to go back, I'm going to go into my white, and I'm going to go around this flower. Okay. Oh, put my arm in the paint. Oops. I'm always a mess when I paint. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of white highlight to this part. I'm going to go in, I'm going to add some white highlights to the flowers. And I use the back of the brush again to add these 3 little dots. And again, we want to add some white highlights. And some dots with the back of our brush. While I have the white out, I'm going to start working on the leaves. And we're just following the shape of the leaf that we first drew in. Well, I first drew in, right? And we're working our way around. Can you see okay? Yeah. And we'll do this little one over here as well. Like that. Okay. And I'm going to wash my brush. And I'm going to get some green, and I'm going to add a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of black. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit of black to it over here. Because I want this part, this to be a little bit darker. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to make my stem for my leaf. Okay? And again, if you made it too dark, wait for it to dry, and you can always lighten it up. Pick up a little bit more white just to highlight our stem for our leaf. And now, believe it or not, we're going to go into black. You want to be very careful with this. You want to use a little bit of black, and you just want to add a little bit of shading, and I'm going to add it to the same side of all my petals. Just a little bit of a stroke, and I'm going to add some dots in here on our leaves, on our flower petals, just like that. I love using the back of the brush to make these dots. They get smaller as you run out of paint. And it's just like starting to pop now, you guys. And we're going to go in and we're going to follow our white lines up here a little bit with just a little bit of black. We're not going to go over the whole thing. We don't need to cover the white. Just little tiny strokes, adding a little bit of shading to our black. To our leaves. We don't want our black to be too much. We don't want it to cover our white that we already put. We just want a little bit. So I'm not even doing the whole line. I'm just doing partial lines over the white a little bit. Like that. And then again in here. Now I'm just drawing in little in here, look like feathers. Just a few little light V's. That's all I'm doing is painting V's. When I run out of paint, it's okay. I'll bring some around the side. There we go. I'm going to lighten these up a little bit, so I think I'm going to add, actually, you know what, I'm going to add some pink ones to the top here. So I want to blend in the black up here a little bit. It's good sometimes, like my black was too dark. So now I'm just showing you how I need to pull in a little bit more pink to lighten everything up, and how fine it is to fix something if you don't love it. So now I'm going to come over here. I think I'm going to use the dark, and I'm going to put my initials and the date, and I'm all set. So let's turn you guys around, and there we have it. So I hope you enjoyed painting with me. Please follow me on Facebook and on YouTube at Teresa's Silhouette Spot for all things art, and I can't wait to paint with you guys again. Enjoy. If you want to share, I would love to see hashtag Teresa's Spot Flamingo on my Facebook page. I would love to see your paintings. Thank you guys.